Hello. Hoo-hoo. Okay. Batteries here. All right. Hello, everybody. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It's always different. Every time we go to a new hotel, it's always different. So, if you guys saw the schedule, this morning was designed to be an introduction to our new learning tool, our workshop tool. And I'm going to walk you guys through how to use it. I can even demo it for you if you'd like. One of the goals of 2025 was to reach developers outside of our community. It was one of the stated community goals in the funding thesis. And one of the ways we were planning on doing that was developing some learning tools and workshops that we could use at events that we normally don't go to. So we almost always come to Ethereum events, and we go to IPFS events, and we go to Filecoin events and things like that. But this year, I really wanted to get us to go to things like RustConf or PyCon or, Enterprise.net conference. I think we're trying to get into the World AI conference in London later this year. And the specific ask is let us come in and teach people how to do peer-to-peer networking using libp2p. It's a 2 to 3 hour kind of workshop thing. And so we needed to build a tool that we could use to teach this. And before I get there, so we also have budget to sponsor people who can get into conferences. So if there's a conference you want to go to and you make a proposal to teach the libp2p workshop, I'll teach you how to teach it. And then there is budget to fly you there, put you in a hotel, pay for your food, and you'll also get one of these super exclusive, well, actually, I have one right here. You get a super exclusive libp2p leader t-shirt to wear when you present it. So that's my offer to the community. We have the rest of the year. There's 40 or 50 more conferences. They're taking proposals right now, if not ending soon. So if you feel like teaching libp2p programming to other programmers and you want to go to some random conference, come to our meetings or look me up and say, hey, and I'll help you write the proposal. And if you get accepted, we'll go down that road. The first one, besides this one, is happening in Zanzibar, actually, on July 19th. One of our community members, a gentleman named Pascal, I don't know if any of you guys have met Pascal yet, but he's in the Python group. He's worked on JavaScript too, I think. Anyway, I just sent him a pile of Filecoins yesterday to pay for all his air flight and everything like that. So, he's going to be doing a workshop in Zanzibar, in Tanzania, in July. So that's our first one. And the goal was to get 5 this year. So this one, this morning, the one in a couple of weeks, and then we've got 3 more. And there's budget for quite a bit more, but we wanted to set an achievable goal. So anyway, I'm going to talk about this tool. We call it Workshop because we're totally unimaginative in our naming. Let's see if this works. Yes. Awesome. Okay. So it's written in Rust, first of all. And so to be able to install the Workshop tool, you need to have Rust installed. And this is the fastest way to do it. You can just go to rustup.rs, and if you plug that in on any Unixy system like Mac or Linux or whatever, it'll just install what you need. Otherwise, I think if you're on Windows, there are installers that you can download there. So you get Rust installed, and then all you have to run is cargo install workshop, because we publish it using the normal Rust publishing thing. And then once you've got Workshop installed, then you run this command here, workshop, that's -- install. And then this is our first workshop. And we designed this tool so that the presentation tool is agnostic to the content. It uses Docker underneath to test. So it's like our interop testing framework. And all of the lessons are written in Markdown. And the scripts that check your solution are all written in Python. So the requirements are Rust, Docker, and Python, which is pretty much everywhere. And this allows us then to have workshop content that can be translated into any spoken language. We have localization already built into the tool. And you can also do it in any programming language that libp2p, or any programming language really. So what I'm going to show you here in a second is the very first workshop, which is the one I wrote, which is the Universal Connectivity Workshop, and it's in English and in Rust. It uses Rust libp2p. However, I know there are several community members who are following my progress writing this workshop. There's already a JavaScript one coming. There's a Python one coming, and I think someone started on a .NET one yesterday. So in short order, you'll be able to learn how to build our universal connectivity application in those programming languages. And then if it gets translated into other spoken languages, obviously those. I think we have a Python one in Italian coming. Luca. I'm pointing at the camera. So Luca speaks Italian, and he's on the Python team, and he's been threatening to translate it. Okay, so once you get that installed, then what you do, at least for Rust, you would just create a Rust project, go into that, and then run workshop. And then you select your workshop, and you'll be editing, at least for the Rust one, you'll be editing cargo and the main file. And then when you're ready to check your solution, you just hit C. So let me give you a quick demo real quick. This was, I don't know if you guys can hear me. Okay, maybe not. This was supposed to be our first like 2-hour long workshop working period. But I think since we got started late, we're just going to skip right into the content for today. But let me give you a demo of this tool in action. Let's see here. Test. EC. Okay. Can you guys see that? There we go. Okay. Okay. So I built it using TUI. So if you just run workshop, actually, you know what? Yeah. How's that? Workshops. I got to set an environment variable real quick. I'm sorry. Because I haven't installed the workshop, so I need to tell it where to find it. And then it's in my workshops folder, and then I run workshop. Okay. So when you first start it up, it's going to run a Python script that's going to check for the dependencies, right? So it's checking to see if Rust C is installed, cargo is installed, right? And that's automatic for this particular workshop. And it's a Python script, so if you're doing JavaScript or whatever, you can check for those dependencies. And then, oh, that's why it did that, because I already have started. So let's see here. Let's get out. Okay, so when you create a project, right? So this is just a standard Rust project, and there's nothing else in here. If I run workshop, oh crap, sorry. It's going to show you the installed workshops on your system, right? So normally when you do the workshop -- install, it'll clone the workshop down from the internet, put it on your local drive in your home folder, and the tool will enumerate the workshops installed. And so there can be multiple workshops. This just happens to be the only one. installed, and I'm going to pick English because it's the only language it supports, and yeah, I'll set that as my default, and Rust because that's the only one it supports. Sure, default. Okay, and then what it's doing right now is it's gathering up all the information about your system to try to find and make sure everything is installed. I need to fix this UI bug because it's supposed to switch to a log file and show you all the checking, but it hasn't switched yet. Let's see, there it goes. Okay, so then it runs the dependencies because I picked English and Rust, so it's checking for Rust dependencies. So then I go in here, these are my lessons. And if the lesson has a long description, you can switch over here, and this is scrollable. So if I wanted to do, say, like identity and basic swarm, right? So this is lesson 1. So if you go in here, it shows you, like this walks you through the lesson. So I want you to do, this is what you're going to learn. And it tells you how to add in your dependencies into the cargo, how to use the cargo tool to add them. And then it gives you some example code, you know, just like a normal workshop kind of tool. But this one also then has, hints at the bottom. I built it so that hints come, when you put them in the markdown file, they get parsed out and then they're collapsed, so that you don't give away the ending. You know, don't give away the spoilers. But if you want to see, like, cheat and look at the complete solution, it's here. So you just highlight it and expand it, and it'll give you the complete solution. Now, this is cool and all, and you could have this open and have another window open editing your code, but it gets even cooler when you do this. Oops. When you use the one and true editor, and then now if I go workshops, did I get that right? Yeah. Workshops. So now, because it remembers its state, that I had selected English and Rust and I started lesson 1, it automatically does the check for dependencies when I restart workshop, and it's going to drop me right back into my lesson that I had started. And the cool thing here is now I can get in here and edit my source file, right? And I can also have my lesson up down here. And so then once I'm confident that my solution meets this, I just hit the C key. And what it's going to do is it's going to run Docker in the background. Each workshop has a Docker file that knows how to build a Docker image from your code in your project. And there are pre-built images that are checkers, so they're the other peers. So in like this lesson here, all you're doing is just creating a swarm, so there isn't another peer. But the next lesson, you do a TCP connection with Yamix and noise. And so when you hit the C key, what it does is it uses a Docker Compose to download the checker peer. Sorry, forget feedback there. The checker peer. And then it builds an image out of your source and it runs it in a private network. And the solution is like, did you solve the lesson, is determined by what the output of the checker peer is. So you actually have to connect to it, and then it will output in a log format that the Python can parse, and it can say that, yeah, your peer connected to it. So anyway, this allows us to teach network programming. And actually lesson 8, or lesson 7 in this one. So the workshop right now is currently lessons 1 through 6. It gets you all the way up to gossip sub. It walks you through TCP, quick, ping, identity, and identify and gossip sub. And then the last one is Kademlia bootstrapping. And that one actually spins up a cluster of like 5 peers, and it does an actual bootstrap, and it actually does peer discovery. So by using Docker Compose, we can We can have full networks of multiple machines running in the background. Anyway, so that's what this tool is, and this is, I guess I'm giving you guys a sales pitch. We have a cool tool. Please volunteer to go to a conference. I'll help defray the financial costs, and let's teach libp2p programmers, new libp2p programmers. So anyway, we're at about time for this. Do you guys have any questions about the tool? Suggestions? Anything?
So it has like a text description and the task for.
Yeah, so here, so you can see here, this actually ran, because I'm zoomed out, you can't see a lot of these messages, but it actually went through and it found, anyway, let me show you what a workshop looks like. Is that what your question is?
Yeah.
Like, how do you make a workshop?
Yes, I mean the task and the goal of this workshop. So you run the goal.
The goal is to teach people how to do peer-to-peer networking from scratch.
Yeah, I mean you create the P2P network or once.
Yeah, in the end, the very last lesson actually uses Docker, and it spins up 6 virtual machines. One of them is your solution, and the others are ones that I've built, and they're universal connectivity peers. And so if you go through the lessons and follow the instructions, and type it out right, basically, it'll build a Docker image from your code, spin it up, and it should automatically discover and connect to the other peers, because it uses Kademlia to discover them. And it already, like the gossip sub lesson before that, has protobuf message serialization for the chat. So you're actually building the universal connectivity app from scratch. That's why it's called universal connectivity. So for those of you guys who don't know what universal connectivity is, that was a demonstrator app written by the community, was it 2 years ago, Dennis, something like that? And it's just a chat room, but it's implemented in JavaScript and in Go and Rust. We have a .NET one, and there's a .NET one that's complete, and a Python one in construction. And it just demonstrates how to use TCP transport, quick transport. It demonstrates how to use Identify, how to use gossip sub for the chatting, and file transfer. And then it also uses Kademlia for discovery of other peers. So we have deployed universal connectivity peers on the internet now. And if you build your own or run the universal connectivity app, it will connect to those. And if anybody else is connected, you're in a chat room. It bootstraps Kademlia off of that. It uses the IPFS Kademlia network, which I'd like to move us off so that it's more efficient at finding other peers if they happen to be online. For universal connectivity, anyway. Did I answer your question? Okay. And the other thing I should show you. Done demoing that. The other thing I should show you is, let me show you the actual workshops. This is a generic tool, so we can do any number of workshops. I'm going to be using this to teach advanced Rust programming techniques to Rust programmers. It has nothing to do with libp2p, but and then okay. Oops. So this is the workshop itself, and what I was going to show you is how this is implemented. So this just gives you the description, how to use this with the workshop tool and all that stuff. But the way these are structured is you'll see in the root here, there is an EN file or EN folder. So this is for the spoken language. So if there was Hindi, there'd be an HI, or Italian IT, whatever. And if you go into the English folder, come on, let me in. Hi, internet. Maybe that's not going to work for us. Why is it not letting me in there? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me try this over here. Anyway, I'll show you. Just show you the structure. I know you guys probably are bored with this, but basically I don't know if you can see this very well. They inside the EN folder, there's a programming language folder, so RS for Rust, and then each of the lessons are in folders, and then this is the app Docker file that knows how to like build a Docker image from the code that the student is writing, and then there's Python scripts for checking and Markdown for lesson. And anyway, this is the general structure of it. And then to make things even easier, in the workshop tool, we wrote a guide on how to author new workshops. So this is the workshop creator's guide. And it shows you the file structure and all the files, like how to do it, and then guidelines on writing lessons and how to do hints and checking solutions and contributing and all that stuff. So anyway, if you guys are interested in writing more workshops, we now have a tool that doesn't suck that we can do. The reason we invented our own is because all of the other existing workshop tools out there do not support Docker, or they don't do Docker. And you kind of need that if you're teaching network programming. So anyway, there's our workshop. Where's my pointer? Can't get this. Hold on a second. You're going to lose me for a second there. You're going to lose me for a second, Austin. Okay, so with that, I think I should just roll into the intro. And then we have Probe Labs coming up in a second here at the top of the hour. And then at noon, we're going to have a coffee break. And I've built in like 5-minute changeovers, so we can get up, walk around, get something to drink or whatever. Welcome to libp2p Day. Thanks. Let's see here. So, there we go. No, the schedule's still the same. I'm just slotting them in. I'm going to start right now. And, well, I'm going to take like 2 minutes, okay? And then you're up.
That's good. Okay.
Is that okay? Sorry. Let me get this over here. Okay. So welcome to libp2p Day, EthCC. Thank you for all coming. You guys all made it. You're all beautiful people. There's lots of you that I've seen from our meetings. Some of you I haven't. I hope to meet all the ones I haven't met already. I just want to give a quick community update. This will take 2 minutes. So as of right now, we have 10 active libp2p community projects, all of the different implementations listed there. Our current focus for 2025 is gossip subscaling, and thanks to Farouk and the NIM libp2p team leading all of the effort. There they are. They took over libp2p Day in Bangkok for an hour and blew everybody away with their research and the metrics they measured, showing like significant improvements are possible in gossip sub. And so now every implementation is working on those. So thank you guys. It's a perfect example of how the community comes to consensus over things. Um, excuse me. Let's see. So we're also doing widespread quick adoption. Every one of the implementations, I think, is trying to get quick in right now if they don't have it. And again, I just showed you the better education tools. And the other thing that I'm really excited about is we're reaching out to new areas of application. We're getting outside of Web3. We're getting outside of cryptocurrencies and blockchains. The Python libp2p project, as of today, is the most active and largest implementation project in our community. There's like 14 developers, 2 maintainers. There's usually like 6 to 8 in every meeting. And the reason is they're building AI applications. And so there's a ton of energy going into doing distributed inference and things like that using libp2p, which is a whole new area for our community. And we're hoping to go to AI conferences this year like we do with the Ethereum conferences and really engage. So anyway, I want to show some metrics because I don't think you guys get to see these. Part of what I do is I track our community and have numbers, and I report out to our funders how the community's doing. What I want to point out in this one, I wish I had a laser pointer, is this is the line for last year. So these are merges, right? So we were bumping along, slowly growing, and we are significantly higher this year. Starting in January, we had a huge influx of PLDG members, and it's stabilized now at roughly double what we were getting last year in terms of just raw horsepower, the number of merges going in. Into any libp2p repository. And that includes the ones that are not in the libp2p organization. So like the NIM libp2p one is not in the, and same with I just saw the Peer 2 guys sneak in, the C libp2p team. By the way, a new team. Did you guys know this? We have a libp2p implementation in just C. So they're out of Australia, so make sure you say hi to them. And then I think the Zine team is here too. Yes. So they're taking over Marco's initial effort to create Zig libp2p. And so those 2 projects are part of the Beam team or Beam chain effort. And so anyway, we're seeing a lot more merges. And then this is per quarter for the life of the project. I want to point out this one right here. So libp2p, this was the whole time libp2p was inside Protocol Labs. And then this was 2023. And this was January of 2024. This was when all of the projects nucleated out of Protocol Labs and libp2p became independent, which means it's no longer directly funded by Protocol Labs. It's not controlled. It's not an internal project at all. We are totally independent now and self-organized. And I'd like to point out that we completely reversed this trend in 2024 by including more projects, by reaching more people, by teaching people, and finding new areas of application. This is a really exciting trend. And you can see that we're already heading back towards our previous high in 2022. I would love to get to those numbers that we saw in 2019. This is our meeting statistics. So we have roughly, I think it's like, in January of 2024, we had no meetings. And then these are the number of unique meetings in a month. I think we're at 9 now, or there's usually 3 or 4 meetings a week. And then these are the numbers of people that are attending meetings, unique people. So if you add up all the people across all the meetings in a given month, in May we had 164. So the community activity is just up and to the right. A lot of people excited. And then these are our unique contributor numbers, which you guys are just working harder, is how I interpret this. Because on the far side over there, our numbers aren't strongly upward, but the amount of work that's getting done is strongly upward. So you guys are just better programmers, I guess. Anyway, and then, I just wanted to call out while I had the microphone before I hand it over to the rest of you. We have a lot of new people in the community. I showed you the metrics, like we are much bigger now. And I wanted to point out a few that I have been blessed with knowing. So the Protocol Labs Developers Guild was a thing started, I think last fall. And it's a stipend-funded developer program. I think they get like a weekly stipend to work on libp2p, and they're independent developers. And I just wanted to call out like Paul and Manu, who've taken over Python libp2p. Paul joined, he used to work for the Ethereum Foundation. He joined as our maintainer last April, and I promised to find him help. And then the PLDG came in right after I made that promise. And we have all of these new developers working on Python libp2p. And I know that I didn't get them all, but you know, Sumanji, Pascal, Lenny, Luca, Mystical, Varun, Rahul, Nia, Quaish, and others. You guys are amazing. Thank you. You've made Python libp2p our most active implementation right now, and they were going to be probably feature complete by the end of the year, maybe by the end of the year. And I also wanted to call out a couple of very notable contributors. We're going to have a talk by Dozy.io, Steve. Thank you, Steve. And then Farouk from the NIM team did all of the gossip stuff. And then Lenny, who's not here, took it upon himself to write a universal connectivity peer in the .NET libp2p implementation, just out of nowhere. Nobody asked him to do it. He was just like, oh yeah, by the way, here's one. It's done. And then the Python libp2p team, I know I've been blowing them up all the morning. I'm just super impressed. This time last year, the Python libp2p team was 0 people, and that project hadn't been touched in 2 years. And so in the previous 12 months, they have like far surpassed all of the other teams in terms of activity and reaching out into new realms of areas of use, and are growing like crazy. And then we've got 2 new teams. I just already introduced you guys, the Zeem team and Peer 2 doing the C libp2p team. So anyway, with that, I'm going to just say welcome to libp2p Day and hand it off to Dennis. Sorry I took longer than I should have. You can take 15 minutes. Thank you guys.